Hey, hi students, how are you all? Today we are here for the second lecture of sectors of Indian economy, which is the second lesson of economics. In this lecture, we will compare the three sectors. In our last lecture, we talked about three sectors: primary, secondary, and tertiary. Which services and which activities fall into which category, that we clarified in our last lecture. Okay, now here we'll compare these three sectors. Which is more important? How many people are engaged in which sector? Which sector is participating, or which sector has maximum share in the India GDP? So all these things now we'll try to understand. So this we compare from 1973 to 2003. Okay. So within this big span of years, what changes occurred, that we'll try to understand. Here you can see GDP by primary, secondary and tertiary sector. So if you can see here, earlier means in 1973, primary sector, secondary and tertiary, all these three sectors, they were not that much competent, or they were not that much having share, okay, in the development of India. Okay, but still if you observe it properly, you will understand here that agriculture, that is primary sector, is having maximum share in the GDP of India. Second, tertiary sector, and third, manufacturing sector. Then here you can see the shift. Such a big shift is there. Now tertiary sector is having maximum share in GDP of India, means every country's GDP. Then secondary sector, that is in second, and here you can see this share almost same. So one thing is very clear to understand. We are trying to understand, we are comparing these three sectors in terms of GDP. How much share do they have in GDP? So here you will understand one thing, that tertiary sector is having maximum GDP share. Why so? Let's try to understand this. India still lagging behind in agricultural development. Okay, still we are not that much aware, or we are not that much keen about the development of agriculture. We are so much interested in tertiary sector, that is service sector. So if you see, as the technology is growing up, the people, they are more and more dependent upon the tertiary sector, service sector. If you go to any big malls, then you will realize there such a big shops are there, and all these shops, they fall in this third category. They are not producing anything, they are not manufacturing anything, isn't it? They are just giving the service to the people. Whatever that is already available, they are just keeping that in front of the people, isn't it? So we'll understand that all the services that you can see around you, we are full of services. All the jobs, all the transportation, then electrical things which we sell, all the shops. If you go to market, all the shops that you can see around you, they fall in this third category. So in this way, maximum people now thinking about the jobs, or they are thinking about the business, retail business, in which you will purchase from someone and you will sell it to someone. This is the first thing. Second thing, nowadays you can see this is the age of marketing and advertisement, as I told you. So as we are so much focused about it, so the people, they are more investing, spending a lot of time and money in the tertiary sector. So there is such a big boost for tertiary sector, and in this way you can see, means it is double than agriculture sector and manufacturing sector, isn't it? So if you compare, here you will understand that the share tertiary sector holds in our GDP, it is almost no more than the share shared by primary and secondary sector. Okay, now, so share of sectors in GDP in percentage, here we are talking. Last we talked about the rupees. Okay, now you here you can see in percentage. So this percentage, if you calculate, you will understand that almost 55% it is held by tertiary sector, okay, and almost 20% it is held by secondary and 20-25% held by primary sector. Now this is the right now today's condition, but here if you talk about 1973, you will realize that agriculture sector, that is primary sector, it is having maximum share. Why so? Let's go back to the history, then you will understand. See, in 1973, India was not that much developing country. We just before 30-40 years we got independence from colonized countries, colonizing countries, that is Britishers. Okay, so when we got independence, first of all we should think about our belly, how to feel the belly, isn't it? Technology, other developments, other systems, that we'll think afterwards. First of all, we have to think about feeding the belly of all Indians. So we have to go to farm, isn't it? So basic services should be given to the people. So we focused on agriculture, and that's why agriculture was having maximum output at that time, okay, in comparison with other two sectors, okay. But these two sectors means after 1973 manufacturing sector got importance, sorry, it got the importance, and we realized that production is also important thing. If we are just focusing on agriculture, then we can't compete with the world. So we have to produce, we have to manufacture something. If we manufacture and if we create refined material, only then we can export it to the world. So we focused on that and we just skilled in that, and afterwards, after 20-30 years, we realized that we are manufacturing, but we need to advertise that. Without advertisement, without marketing, it will not be popular in the world. So we focused on that, and that's why we established many IT parks. Okay, we started our colleges which will focus on IT technology. Okay, so in this way, this is the journey of tertiary sector, primary sector and secondary sector. Clear? Now, in terms of employment, we'll try to understand what is the share of these three sectors. Again, you can see such a big shift. See here. Earlier, 75% in 1973, almost 75% people, they were engaged in agriculture. Then 10% people approximately, they were engaged in manufacturing, and almost 15-20% people, they were engaged in tertiary sector. Okay, now see the expansion. Agriculture sector means employment in agriculture sector, it is reduced. The reason behind it is the people knew about the disguised employment. On 1 acre of farm, 5% can't feed, so they have to migrate to the cities, and they are coming to the cities. Okay, that's why the employment is becoming less day by day. And nowadays, you know very well, we all are people, we are so much keen or interested in jobs or in business, not in agriculture. You know very well what is the condition of peasants in our India. Okay, so the people, they are living agriculture, they are coming to cities and they are working in companies, factories. So here you can see, here and here, this expansion is there, yellow colored. Okay, so now it is almost increased. Okay, then third sector, you can see the tertiary sector. Here you can see that if you observe it properly, then you will come to know earlier it was less in service sector, but now it has increased. Okay, now but still, if you see the shift, because in our last slide we have seen such a big share tertiary sector has in our GDP. Okay, but that same share is not given by IT sector. Okay, and here if you observe it properly, you will come to know that still maximum people of India, almost 61-62% people, they are engaged in farm, they are engaged in agriculture. What can be the reasons behind it? Let's talk about it now first. In agriculture sector means as the literacy level will go on, then manufacturing sector and tertiary sector will grow up. That is first thing. Second thing, still we are bound to the agriculture. We are not trying to add some business to it. Okay. Then third thing, if you want to go to this level, then you must be a skilled person. You must be trained and professional person, and for that you must have taken that kind of education. Only then it is possible to grow the employment in that. Fourth reason is to in IT sector means one person as is operating on the computer. So, and as you know very well, the computer is very all-rounder and versatile kind of human being. So he handles many things. So by the help of one computer, this IT manager, or we can say the person, he holds many things, he operates many things. So there is no necessity of many people. So in this way, in tertiary sector, there is no remarkable growth in employment, though it has the biggest share in our GDP, but in terms of employment, it is very less. Okay, so this is what about the development of these three sectors. Now, we'll talk about the classification of the sectors. On the basis of ownership, you will come to know that the sectors of economy are divided into two parts: public sector and private sector. Public sector, it denotes the government sector, means all the rights and the property and all the what we can say authority, it is held by the government. For example, train, it's a public sector, or government hospital, public sector, education, public sector. Okay, and then there are some companies which fall in the private sector. Okay, so which is that? Private sector means private sector authority or the property, it is held by an individual or group of an individual. Okay, so it is not of government. So if you can see around you that there are government hospitals, because it's a basic facility. Government hospital, you can see the fees is very less, but if you go to private hospitals, the fees is very high. Okay, means both kinds of hospitals you can find. Same like that, schools are there. School is a basic education, school is a basic facility, but the government can't provide the education to such a big amount or the class of the people. Okay, group of the people. So government has given some right to the private sector, so that they can, so that we will all will get accommodated in the country or in private and public sector. Okay, so in this way, on the basis of ownership, there are two sectors of economy: public and private sector. Then PDS, you might have heard about it, public distribution system, that is ration card you must be holding, or many of you. Okay, so when you go to the ration shop, you will get what, wheat, rice, or any grain on very reasonable price. Okay, so it comes under public sector. Clear? Let's move forward. Now, what is public sector? The government owns most of the assets and provides all the services. Here you can see Air India, assets and provides the services. Reserve Bank of India, assets held by the government and services provided by the government. Then private sector, ownership of assets and delivery of services is in the hands of private individuals or companies. So Vodafone, Tata, these companies, they are in private sector. Now, on the basis of employment, we'll come to know that sectors of economy are two: organized and unorganized sector. Organized sector means the sector which has specific rules and regulations. If you take the leaves, then they must be paid. There should be specific leaves, paid leaves for the employee. Then there must be EPF, Employees Provident Fund. Okay, then LIC means other facilities, medical facilities should be there. Okay, then maternity leave must be there. All these things come in the category of organized. Then if you are working in organized sector, then you must be given the letter of appointment, okay, and the person or the employer directly can't remove you. Your employment will not be dependent upon the whims of the employer, okay. So in organized sector you have security, but if you talk about the unorganized sector, there is no, what we can say, there is no security. For example, if a person is working in a shop, he doesn't get EPF, okay, he doesn't, there is no security of his job. Then he has to work on the whims of the employer. If he is angry, then he will scold him like this, okay. Then there will be no paid leaves. If you take holiday, then your salary will be deducted. In this way, in unorganized sector you can find all the services which are not registered with the government. Shops, okay, then kind of hotels, okay. So there the people, they are working, but they are all are not engaged with a proper procedure. Clear? So this is the difference between organized and unorganized sector. Here you can see the picture, okay, as they are in police, here it's a banking. So these people directly cannot be removed. They have certain set of rules by which employer also have to work, okay. People have assured work and terms of employment are regular, okay. Then what is unorganized sector? Here you can see construction site, okay. Then it consists of small and scattered, which are not in the control of the government. It has low pay and unsecured jobs. This is what unorganized sector is. Now here you can see the workforce, okay. This is workplace in unorganized sector. Now we are talking about 2000, okay. So here you can see these many people, they are working in unorganized sector, okay. And here you can see organized sector, such a these many people, they are working in organized sector. So from this you will understand that how many people, they are living in insecurity of the job. Once they will not get the employment, and once they get it, then there will be always fear in their mind of insecurity of the job, okay. Now we'll try to understand what is unemployment. When a person is willing to work at the prevailing wage rate but fails to get a job, it is called unemployment, okay. Now types of unemployment. Unemployment, it can be seasonal. Seasonal means uh, it is just bound to some limit. Means just take example of construction sites. For 4 months, 1 year, it will go on. After 1 year, when the work is finished, these workers, they have to find out other work, okay. This is urban seasonal unemployment. If you come to villages, in villages for 4 months, 6 months there is work in farm. For next 6 months they have to stay at home, okay. So it is just seasonal for 4 months or 6 months. Disguised unemployment. Disguise, by word itself you will understand. Disguise means it looks that it is employment, but it is not, okay. For example, there is a farm, 1 acre of farm. In that farm, that 1 acre of farm can be cultivated or be cultivated by one person only, but five brothers, they are working in that field because they don't have any other job opportunities. So 5 persons, they are feeding themselves on 1 acre of farm. They seem that they are engaged. 5 of them, they work in the farm, okay. But and it also seems that they are engaged, but actually they are not, because their full potential is not being employed, okay. Next, structural, okay, means it is related to in which kind of work you are working exactly. Then cyclical, after 4 months, means just take example of farm. Every year from July to September or December, the work will come. Afterwards there will be no work. Cyclical. And then frictional, okay. So in this way, these are the types of unemployment. The unemployment which generates due to the variation in seasons is called seasonal unemployment. When more people are working than required, it is called disguised unemployment, okay. Just now I have explained this all. You can take the screenshot of this. Let's move forward, and here we finish our lecture, okay. When unemployment happens because of transferring one job to another, the period between changing the job is called frictional unemployment. This is new for you. Okay, so in this way, this is all about the sectors of economy. Okay, so I hope this is very clear to you. Very simple lesson it was, and I'm sure that all the things from this lesson must be clear to you. Thank you so much. Have a nice day.